The woman is more powerful when it comes to overall, beloveds. You can agree or disagree.
Here we go. What's up, fam? It's your favorite nonfiction and fiction storyteller, Matt D. Talford, coming to you with a slightly different video today. Okay, this is first off, and you know what? I'm going to cut right to the chase on this one. You guys, for those of you that are new to the channel, I'm an author of 2 award-winning books. Actually, I've authored 3 books, but 2 of them are award-winning. Stuck in an Elevator, and From Fear to Faith: A Survivor Story, which is my debut title, winner of 5 awards here in the United States and abroad. So now, let me. Oh, by the way, if you're new to the channel, I hope you like my content. Please consider subscribing by clicking the subscribe button and clicking the notification bell so you can be notified of when I upload new content. And for those of you who are returning viewers, thank you so much for your love and support. Thank you for all of the well wishes, and positive words of encouragement and such. I'm going to try to get through this video today pretty quickly if I can. And then if you want to reach out to me or whatever, send me a message on my Instagram at Matt D. Talford. Now, today's video is a little bit different. I'm doing a response video to a YouTuber that I love, and I follow her work. You guys consider following her. She's someone I consider a spiritual leader. She's out there in the grind, doing the work that is helping and uplifting the tribe, so to speak. Her name is Dr. Mumbi. And let me tell you, before we get started, I agree with probably 95% of the content she puts out. But today was a little bit of a tipping point for me on a subject that she covered, and I'm seeing this subject popping up a lot, especially with some of my friends, close friends that I've gone to high school with and are known in the military and such, that are in the Hotep community or the Kemetic community. And there's this theme that I'm seeing now. I'm just gonna cut right to the chase, and if you guys agree with it, you agree. If you don't, you don't. But let's talk about it in the comments. Let's chop it up in the comments. And before I continue, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up right now, because you may forget to do it by the end of the video. And if by the end of the video you don't like it, you can go back and remove that thumbs up. Or if you dislike it, you can do a thumbs down, and just let me know in the comments why you did it. Now, this thing that I'm seeing popping up a lot is what I call female worship, or woman worship, or worship of the feminine energy. And men right and left now, talking about the woman is God, and the woman should be the one that's worshipped, and all of this stuff. And Mumbi kind of had that theme today, and I want to touch on that. This is not to cause division, even though I'm seeing a lot of division. I'm trying to stop that division, really. So let me. The title of her video was "The Difference Between Male and Female Power and Why Women Are Ultimately More Powerful." I got a couple of problems with that. I'm going to tell you guys what those problems are. I'm going to tell you what I agree with. What points in her video that she made that I agree with, and then I'm going to tell you where she and I differ, and then I'm going to leave you with the ultimate truth. Okay. Now, again, her title was "The Difference Between Male and Female Power and Why Women Are Ultimately More Powerful."
All of us have dimensions of the male and female principal energy within us. And so it doesn't mean just because you're a woman, you express more of, one or the other. But the difference is very important, because even the Babylon system came through a certain sex. I hate to say it. But, so the difference between male and female power is that male power is very physically, it's more physically inclined. So you'll see it in the buildings and the going to wars and the conquest, etc., etc. So it's expressed more physically, whereas the female power is expressed more spiritually. You see, beloveds, the world is feminine. The world belongs to women. I don't know if, for those of you who get it, you'll get it. It was women that birthed this planet, and you can only enter this world through the legs of a woman. You can only come here through the legs of a woman. So women have the authority here, the spiritual authority. And that's why they created a male oriented religion that oppressed women. That's why they started with that creation story of Adam and Eve. And some say that Eve actually slept with an alien reptilian race, which is what gave them access to this planet. Because you see, beloveds, the entity that is the entity that is kind of fight the enemy of our souls, it came as a man, beloveds, and that entity came as a reptilian male, tricked and seduced our women, and was able to penetrate the world through the legs of a woman.
Okay. The first problem I have with that is you got a woman explaining masculinity. All right. I got a problem with that. How can she explain? If anything, perhaps this video should have been a conversation between her and a male, or preferably an alpha male, that a righteous alpha male. Let me say it like that. That probably would have been to me, it would have probably gone over better to the alpha males that are in her tribe that subscribe to her channel and comment on her videos and such and love her. But you can't have a woman explaining to you what it is to be masculine or what masculine energy is really about. I mean, because wouldn't that kind of be like me as a man explaining to a mixed audience what it's like to have a monthly cycle? I mean, come on. Are you going to hear that from me? No, you're not. I can't tell you. Now, I can read some books or I can listen to some opinions of women that I know and say, oh, yeah, well, my homegirl, blah, 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 or my wife said, blah, 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 or my mom said, blah, 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 about a monthly cycle. But it's still not going to come across right. It's not going to come across like a woman explaining that, okay? So on the same token, she as a woman cannot explain to you what it's like to be masculine, all right? So let me explain that. Let me say that first. That's the first problem I have with it. I mean, come on, son. In the words of Ed Lover, come on, son. You're a female. You can't teach people what masculinity is really about. You got to hear it from a righteous male, a righteous alpha male, because that's the top of the food chain. You got an unrighteous alpha male, he gonna lie to you, or he gonna throw some ego in there or whatever. But if you got a righteous alpha male, he's gonna give it to you straight. So that's ultimately who you want to hear what righteous masculine energy is about. Because by the end of this video, guys, what you're gonna find out is what reigns supreme in the power realm is really righteousness. Now, I don't care if you're female or male. If you're unrighteous, you're a little bit weaker than somebody, or a lot weaker than somebody who is righteous. So who cares what gender your energy is, whether that be that your physical body or your soul energy, because they're different. You can have men who have a what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? Whose dominant soul energy is divine feminine, which is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. And on the flip side, you can have women who's stronger or more dominant soul energy is divine masculine. And again, that's not a bad thing necessarily. And I'm not gonna get into the whole earth-based or physical-based gender and all of this, and people they want to be, you're born a woman, you want to be a man, and vice versa. I'm not getting into that because that's not what that's about. Soul energy is different, and every man and woman on planet Earth has a little bit of divine masculine and a little bit of divine feminine. It's just that what's the balance? Is it 60-40? Is it 55 35 55 45? What is it? You know what I mean? So anyway, let me and if I'm sweating, it's because it's a little warm and I got the windows closed because it creates a better sound environment. So I'm going to try to wrap this video up. So that was the first problem I had with her video. A woman trying to tell you what it's like ultimately to be a man. That's kind of what she was doing. All right. No more than I have the right to tell you what it's like to be a woman. Does she have the right to tell you what it's like to be a man? I mean, she can give you her opinion, but all she's going to do is give you opinion. All right. Now, again, keep in mind, I love Mumbi. I love her. I would tell her that to her face. I'm telling y'all that right now. I love Mumbi. Don't mean I'm going to agree with everything she says. I love my mother. I don't necessarily agree with everything she says or does, but I show her the ultimate respect because that's my mother. Same with my dad. I don't agree with everything he says or does, but that's my father, so I'm going to give him that respect, all right? Same with Mumbi. I respect Mumbi. I respect her work. I don't agree with everything she says, but I agree with probably about 90% of what she says. Now, What's the second problem I have with her video? The second problem I have is pretty much the whole premise of her video, in essence, is a continuation of the age-old Muzungu, as she calls it. It's the continuation of the age-old Muzungu playbook of pitting the melanated man against the melanated woman. That's essentially when you say, oh, well, you know, I'm going to do a video today on how the male and female power are different and why the women are ultimately more powerful. The earth belongs to the women. You know, and I think James Brown broke that down best. All right, he said, "This is the man world, but it mean nothing without a woman and a girl." That's a bad James Brown. If I did it in my own voice, it'd be like, "This is a man's world, but it wouldn't mean nothing without a woman and a girl." All right, I don't have any music playing, so and actually I do sing. So listen, I need to hear the music, whatever. All right, y'all, enough of that. Seriously, I disagree with that statement. And I think, again, what she's doing is continuing this playbook of pitting the man against the woman. Now, let me tell you what I agreed with in her video. And I've said this all along. I say this to the guys all the time. Fellas, I don't care how tough you think you are. Women are more powerful spiritually than we are. It's just how they were built. It's the gift that they were given at creation. They are way more spiritual beings than we are and far more powerful spiritually. Now, and of course, I agree with her that men are physically more powerful than women. That is a balance. That is a balance, okay? Those two balance each other out, okay? What good is it to be? You know what? Let me move on. Okay. So let me break that down a little bit. Okay. So we know that let's deal with spirit. You got two spiritual channels into your body, two spirit receptors, your eyes and your ears. Okay. Women tend to be driven by what they hear. Men tend to be driven by what they see. Let's dealing with the opposite gender. Okay. When a man sees a fine woman, it doesn't matter what she says. He don't hear anything coming out of her mouth. He's like hypnotized by her look. He's hypnotized by her curves. He's hypnotized by how that skirt or them pants, or whatever, is hugging her hips. He's hypnotized by how her booty. Let's keep it 100. It's Maddie's rap. He's hypnotized by how her booty sits up in them pants. Let me crack this window, y'all. It's getting a little bit warm in here, as y'all can see. I'm sweating a little bit. So let me crack this window, get some air flowing through here. All right, that's much better. If y'all get road noise, sorry. I'm doing this in my car, okay? I typically like the acoustics when the window's up, but we're getting near summertime now. All right, so now, men are driven by what they see. Now, the woman on the flip side, it's what she hears. Oh, man, come on, man. How about that? LL's mama, I'm going to knock you out. Mama said knock you out, whatever. Funny, right? We talking about divine men and women, all right? And I'm going to get onto that divine masculine, divine feminine in a minute, so I'm going to come back to that. But, again, that's funny. That came on the radio. It was just playing on the radio, whatever. But anyway, getting back to my point, women they're driven by what they hear. So case in point, a man, when a man, listen, a man's looking at something like a dude, he could talk trash to another dude all day long. Yeah, whatever, man. You popping off your gums. You step wrong. We going at it. All right. Women, I done seen women go to war over words. Why? Because something that person said didn't sit right with her and she snapped, she reacted. Okay, that's on the negative side. But on the positive side, let's look at dating. Again, a man is driven by that fine woman. That woman, yeah, she might notice that man is attractive or whatever, but there's something to his voice. There's something to the way his voice comes across and hits her ears. There's something to what he says. A woman might say to a dude, you're very handsome guy or whatever. I want to see you. What are you doing tomorrow? Whatever. Good. He good. He gonna tell his boys, yo, man, I got a hottie coming through tomorrow. Y'all holler at me, y'all gonna shoot some ball, whatever. He done with it. He gonna pick it up tomorrow. A woman, man says to a woman, she's the most beautiful thing he ever saw. And wow, she's just like, wow, just her word. Something sweet to her. Yo, she marinating on that all night. She probably can't even sleep. She marinating on it. Same thing. A man, dude say something foul. Yeah, let your boss say something foul to you at work. Your boss say something foul to a man. He might go out with his boys after, maybe have a drink or something and get it off his chest and be like, yo, man, I don't know who he thought he was talking to, whatever. Yeah, I'm going to see him tomorrow, whatever. Boom. He going to bed. He can sleep it off. We'll do it in the morning. Woman, that boss say something negative to her. She thinking about it all night. She going to go home. She going to get on the phone, tell her girlfriends. She might tell her husband about it. She just ain't letting it go. Or you say something to her and she don't forget about it. 4 days pass, you think it's over with, she ain't said nothing to you, and then out the blue, she talking to you about something you said something you said 3-4 days before. So that's the check. I mean, what you really have here. Let me get on to this and wrap this up. She said that women are more powerful than men ultimately. I completely disagree. Okay. Now, you dealing with, she said the earth is feminine. If you want to talk about earth itself, earth is feminine. Why? Because earth produces seed bearing fruits, vegetables, plants, whatever, vegetation. So you can't have vegetation without earth. It's anchored in earth. But guess what? For that vegetation, for the continuum of life, you need that seed to be dispersed. So the two need each other. Now, you could say, oh, men, women, let me tell you something. Men and women were created to be together. They are, neither is, technically speaking, neither is more powerful than the other. It's the application. Now let me say this about Mumbi. Women are more powerful, but ain't this the same woman that can say,
Whereas, at a certain time, you can be awakened and you can naturally, come into that information and it can transform your life. Oh, sorry, guys. Oh, dada, my cat just came carrying a lizard and I'm not going to cut. So, oh my God. Anyway. Oh, that gave me a fright.
when she saw her cat roll up on her with that lizard in his mouth. Come on, a dude ain't doing that, man. He go look at it, he be like, Dad, Felix the cat, Felix got him some lunch. Whatever, he moving on, I watched my Cocker Spaniel some years ago eat a lizard, and he was looking for some more. I was like, Dad, he's savage. Wasn't nothing to it. She got all eked out because, come on, really? But you more powerful? And then on top of that, let's deal with the creation story as since you brought it up. Now, you said women are spiritually more powerful than men. We know that their dominant spiritual channel is their ears, where ours is our eyes. So out of the same mouth, you said women are more powerful than men, but then you came and said a masculine reptilian deceived the woman and she had sex with him. How powerful are you? Now, if she had gone and talked to her mate, since we doing the creation story, she'd be like, yo, Adam, that dude over there rolled up on me and said yo, man, what you doing talking to her, man? Nah, we ain't eating that apple. We ain't eating that. Nah, get on out of here, man. I don't want to see you around here no more. That's where the team aspect comes in. No, she thought she was smart enough to deal with this dude on his own, and he tricked her. But she all powerful, right? We got to stop this, man. We got to stop. Now, who's to say, since we going there, who's to say that a female reptilian didn't roll up on Adam first and be like, yo, I'm going to break you off, son. And then after I break you off, I'm going to feed you. And dudes, he's like, all right, yeah, shorty, I'm taking that. Bam, 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 bam. I'm good. Hey, let me feed you. Here's an apple. Nah, the Most High said we can't eat that. Sorry. What else you got? You got some, you got some grapes or something? Yo, you got some carrot sticks, some celery? Oh man, they ain't work with him. Let's go back to the master and see what else we can do. Oh, go at that woman. Yeah. Send Hector in there. Send Hector in there after or whatever. You know what I mean? Send the smoothest talking dude we got at her. Boom, he got her. Now because this Adam lady, he love her and he got some too. See what I'm saying? So we need each other. So the point, let me wrap this up, all right? Okay? Because if you want to talk about power, and I'm not an expert on, soul groups and soul contracts and that sort of thing. I'm learning about it, but from what I've learned, the highest soul or spiritual union is typically going to be a divine masculine inside of a divine feminine, and a divine feminine inside of a divine masculine, and the two combined is like this power unit. Why? Because you got a complete yin and yang. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you want to get technical and go just individual, then you take an alpha male with a divine feminine soul energy. He pretty much almost self-sufficient because he got that masculine prowess for what he got to do in the physical plane, but then he got that divine feminine soul energy that's going to keep him straight, that's going to give him that intuition that he would normally get from his female partner. But we ain't going to talk about that because, again, this ain't about being divisive. The whole goal of this video, Mumbi, is to and anybody watching, is to get rid of this whole the woman is God thing, man. Let me tell you something. A woman cannot give birth. The birth cycle, the birth process cannot even be activated without the man. All right. Now, so Two men can't have a baby. Two women can't have a baby. You got to have the two. The two together are one. They're one power unit. All right. Now, you know, and to this point, you know, you talk about the woman having, you know, earth being feminine or whatever. Here's the thing. We're not even talking about what the ultimate power source is. Because if you want to use earth, for example, if you got earth with no water, that earth is barren. And then it can't even yield fruit. I don't care how many seeds drop on it. It can't even yield fruit. So what's the source of the water? So see, we can't get egotistical and try to say this is more powerful than that. Let's just deal with the realms. Let's deal with where their strengths are. Men are more physically strong. Women are more spiritually strong. Women have higher pain tolerance, higher pain threshold than men do. Okay, that's another advantage women have. Men have the ability to focus from the standpoint of not getting emotional about stuff and to stay mission oriented. Men have the ability to put logic forth before intuition. Women have the flip side. They have intuition, and their intuition sometimes supersedes logic. But if you go too much in either direction, if you got too much logic and not enough intuition, you're ultimately going to fail. If you got too much intuition, then you could find yourself embattled between, well, which feeling am I having is right? Because that's a real phenomenon too. Well, I feel like I should do this. Well, no, I feel like I should do that. Well, I feel like, I'm being pulled in this direction spiritually. Wait, no, I'm being pulled in that direction spiritually. That's where you need that man to come in with that logic and say, okay, let's hear both of these out and see which one is a little bit more reasonable. We're a team. There's no separation. That's what the master did back during the plantation. And I know you don't have that connection perhaps because of where your lineage is from. You know, you got how many generations? You ain't never been, your people, whatever, they ain't necessarily been in change. Yeah, y'all had to deal with the colonizers just like everybody else. But we had to learn how to operate best together. And now y'all also didn't have to deal with this phenomenon of having a melanated brother having a wife, and then that master, because he the owner, he tell that brother, he come out there at 12:31 in the morning, tell the brother he got to go. Yo, go do something, come back in an hour. And then he's smashing his old lady. And then she's torn between, well, he want to put his hands around the dude's neck and wring it and kill him, but he can't. And she really don't want him to, because she knows what that's going to do to the whole family unit. But at the same time, she kind of wants him to. So these mental games they played with us, we had to learn how to be strong through that. So what you got to understand, Mumbi, is neither is greater than the other. We were created to be a team. So I would just ask you to check the reasoning behind what you're doing. And I don't want to accuse it of being ego. You know, maybe you're looking at it from a different perspective, but men and women were created to be a team. We're nothing without each other. Okay. You need that seed to activate the birth process, but then you can't have birth without a female carrier. Okay. So, and you know what? I'm gonna end on this note. I did a video titled "The 3 Most Valuable Things in the World," and in proper order, at the top of that food chain is land, feminine, if you will. We can call it feminine, because the land produces. All right. And then number 2 behind that is manpower. Why? Because it takes manpower to seize land, to explore new land, to work land, and to defend land. Okay. Now, technically, women can work land too, whatever. But you're talking about seizing land and defending land. That's masculine energy. You got to have it. Okay. And then third on the depth chart, but not necessarily less important, are women. Why? Because without women, you can't reproduce men or women at all. So those are the 3 most valuable. Y'all can check my video out. I'll break that down. There's a video in my YouTube channel. Check it out. But that's all I wanted to say. I'm gonna close this video out. I just wanted to respond to that video that Mumbi dropped. I love Mumbi. Mumbi, if you see this, I love you. You one of my favorite YouTubers out there. I watch all your videos. I got you on subscribe with all notifications turned on. And again, this was not to be a diss or something like that. I just wanted to caution you to not further that playbook, or the Muzungu playbook, of bringing division between melanated men and women. No alpha male is ever going to bow down and worship women. He's going to love and respect and cherish and protect, but he's not going to bow down and worship. And I'm not saying that women are supposed to bow down and worship men either. All right, that's all I'm gonna say on that. I could keep this going, but the reality is that we're a team, and we're better together. Okay, each of us is pretty good by ourselves, but we better together. So let's be careful of how we put this information out here and talk about, women are superior and all this. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. There's checks and balances in place. All right, women are not superior. All right. And men are not necessarily superior either. It is the application, the proper application of what you're talking about. We talking about spirit or we talking about physical? All right, we talking about spirit, then women are, and I know people argue, want to say, well, spirit is greater than the natural, but guess what? Everything that's spiritual manifests in the natural, and we got to deal in this natural world. If you're in a natural vehicle, then you got to deal with that natural vehicle you came here in. So you can talk that spirit stuff all you want, but you better hope that you got your strong team, because at some point it's gonna have to go natural. Everything does. As long as you're hearing me is natural, even though it's coming through the spiritual channel, you're listening to this via my natural tool, okay, my natural vehicle. So that's all I got to say, y'all. Listen, check out my work. I'm an author from Fear to Faith, the Survivor Story, Stuck in an Elevator. For those of you in the tennis community, Captain's Mate, some thumbnails at the end of this video, and you can get some links in the description box below. Thanks for watching again, and please consider subscribing. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share it, and drop a comment in the comment box. Let's keep this going. Peace.
My position is that the black woman's disrespect and rebellion against the leadership and the authority of the black man is a direct cause of the breakdown in our black family structure. Now, of course, there are many black people who consider those fighting words, because as black women, we have never been subject to the kind of examination that our men have been subject to since we have been here. We have been somewhat protected and shielded from any kind of critiquing about our personal behavior, whereas our men have always been up for examination. The book is not an attack on black women. I have never said that all black women do everything that I list in my book. None of us have lived long enough to do everything that I list in the book, but most of us do some of the things that I've listed in my book. And I do say that it is not because of generalizations that we are all victimized by some of the negative patterns of behavior in the book, but the book just represents our collective contribution. This is some of everything that we have done, or that we do daily, that contributes to the breakup of our relationship, the destruction of our man, and the failure of our children to be able to function. They did not tell us that all of that, being my own person and I'm independent, would lead to separation, loneliness, celibacy, and lesbianism. They didn't tell us that if you give up the man, you're going to take one of these things and it's worse and it will destroy your nation. They didn't give us that information. They made us think that it was some kind of glorified position to brag about the fact that I got my own job, my own credit card, my own car, so I don't need no man. I don't even know how we got that mixed up. Ain't none of that got nothing to do with being with no man. We have some serious relationship problems that nobody has been able to address us on, because everybody wants to pretend that this is not going on. Over 60% of our women are single, widowed, separated, or divorced. They don't have a man. I just came out of Florida, and they got a housing complex that the Urban League built, which is a black organization that is for women and children only. They say they don't allow any men in there. I didn't have time to deal with it, but I talked about them real bad. That's the silliest program I've ever heard of. You know them women that had men if they got a bunch of children. They need fathers. They need protection. We hear about the drug problem that we have in our projects across the country. It's one of the major places that we have a drug problem. We talk about the great strength that we have as black women. Well, the welfare department don't rent government apartments to single black men. Those apartments belong to black women who are allowing this to go on in their home. We have not looked at what part of the responsibility do we share. Yes, black men sell a lot of drugs, and a lot of us black women get the money from them drugs and buy some of these fancy clothes we wear. Drive around in some of these fancy cars. He is not doing these things alone and without support from us, whether they are good or bad. See, we have a lot of power. We are very strong women. I'm saying that we're using our strength in the wrong direction. We're using it to tear our man down, tear our nation down, instead of building it up. Having an education and a job does not necessarily mean you have a successful life. I keep telling black women that to raise a child, they say, well, I provided with food, clothing, and shelter. That's not raising a child, that's maintaining one. To raise a child, you need a parental coalition of a man and a woman. We have sons who, by not having a father in the home, they don't know how to respect women. They take on the black female emotionalism. They're doubtful, they're indecisive, they can't make a decision. They don't know what to do about being a man because we can't teach them that. We don't have that knowledge. We have daughters who grow up in a home where they don't see any affection, where there's no man there. They go out into the world and try to mate. They don't have no idea how to be no woman to no man, how to function in a house with a man, because they haven't seen it. Most of our children, just like us, get all the information we have about how you be with a mate off television. It's the only medium that shows us anybody being together. Those rules have not worked for us. The white woman's liberation movement, we don't have anything to do with that. We have not been under the control of the black man for over 500 years, so what do we have to get liberated from them from? They haven't been our boss. That's the white woman and her man. They're going through that, and that's their business. We don't have any business being in that. They only introduced it to break down the civil rights movement. Civil rights movement started with the black man, the black woman, and the black child standing together, trying to plead for freedom, justice, and equality, and more benefits in the country that they had built. They threw the white woman in there with the women's liberation movement and made it a woman against man thing. That created a big separation between black men and black women, because then everybody started going for self. Then they bring the welfare system in and tell us in order to feed and clothe and house our children, we have to give up our man. You have to put the man out of the house. When the white farm wife goes to the government for subsidy for the farm, they don't tell her to get rid of the farmer, they keep that family together. But in the black community, they make it a requirement, because they want to keep endorsing into the black community that the black man is no good, and that he is not deserving of respect, he is not deserving of us letting him give us any protection or instruction, and that we are better than them. The major responsibility that the black woman has had on the earth for the trillions of years that we have been here has been one of nutrition and birthing children. Those two things have a great deal to do with the survival of any people, the reproduction of the nation, and feeding them the proper food so that they can live. Those are very important jobs. Those are very powerful positions, because it puts us in a position to decide who's going to live or die, and how slow they're going to die by what we feed them. We have a very powerful position. That's not a small role that we play. We have just been taught to misrepresent and misuse that power. The people who we have been counting on to give us the truth about how to get along have failed. The white people don't know how to get along. They don't have that information themselves. They don't get along with nobody on earth. So they didn't have no information to impart to us about how we're supposed to get along. They change their relationship rules at will. We have, tons of black children around this country that I hear from who have grown up traumatized by the fact that they were referred to as the outside child. When we were having children like that, they called it illegitimate children, until the white woman started having them, and now it's single parenting. See, they changed the rules according to what they're doing. So I've called on our people to change them depending on what we want to do, what our needs are. There's another need that has not been addressed in our community, because nobody will deal with it, and that's one that God did not create three sexes. We only have men and women. Now, I have not said that we should reject the sisters who try and act like men and the men who try and act like women. I'm not saying to reject them from among us, but they need to be taught. We don't have to accept that as some kind of normalcy, because that's not normal. I'm trying trying to demonstrate how they have set rules that they have forced us to follow that they don't even follow themselves. They change the rules to suit them when they get ready. We can change them to suit us when we get ready, especially if we have what we have now, which is a failing system. It hasn't worked for us. We don't have to be ashamed that it hasn't worked for us. But we do have to be ashamed of the fact that we keep plodding behind it and not trying to make the corrections that will help our people to survive.
He wants to keep us in this condition. He wants to keep us separated from our man. Because he knows that the only door, the only route he has to destroy our black man is through the black woman. Doesn't matter what the woman's educational background is. In fact, we have proven that the more education we get, the more ignorant we get in front of our man. We represent the missing link as black women. The black man has been dissected, examined, the white man, the white woman, and the black child. But it has been us as black women who have never been examined. We have been protected, we have been insulated, we have been kept from any kind of criticism about our personal behavior in the home and outside of the home, and we have been given the false compliment that we are the backbone of the black nation. There is no doubt in any community in this country that the men in those communities are the backbone of their nations. There is no doubt in the white community that the white man is the backbone of his nation. The European, the Buddhist, the Korean, the Japanese, the Hispanic, all of those men are the backbones of their community, and there's no doubt about it. It is only in the black community where those values have been transposed and where they put that burden on us and tell us that we are the backbone of the black community, which is a direct insult to the black man and implies that he don't have no backbone and that his women have to represent him. I remind people all the time that God did not make the white man, the white woman, the black woman, and then the black man. He made the black man first, and he created all of the rest of the people after him. In 1985, I was going about the country trying to still work to teach our people something, trying to get them to stop eating pork. And at that time, I was having what I call get off those hog lectures. And I would take the microscope out, and I would show black people how even if you cook pork, you couldn't kill the worm. I would show them that the worm was still alive in the meat after heat, because that's what they told us, that you could cook it and kill the worm. And so I would show them what it did to the brain and the spinal column. And so there were many black men who wanted to stop eating pork. They wanted to change their diets, and they were in agreement. But it was the black woman who I found who was the most adamant, who refused to change her cooking habits, who didn't want to shop differently, who didn't want to do any different meal planning. And so I say, well now, if we are refusing to provide the black man with the proper physical food when we know food is what sustains life, then what else are we keeping from him?